Chapter 749, New Star of the Ministry of War. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. Who is it? Two members of the Four Symbols sect in the 9th change of the Fish Dragon realm rushed out from the Conquer seats to block Bukion Fan. They both had 12th level battle swords of the True Treasure class. Ice and fire auras came from them respectively and attacked from top and bottom. The Four Symbols sect and Demonic sect had already agreed secretly that anyone who dared to help the Yin and Yang sect would be attacked. Anyone in my way will die. Bukion Fan stepped on the steps and flew upwards. He shot up 30 feet and wielded his lance. He brandished it and it struck one of the monks in the stomach. Boom! The monk in the 9th change of the Fish Dragon realm cried out in pain. He spat out blood and flew off Scroll Mountain. The other monk's expression changed drastically. He didn't expect this man to be so strong. However, since he could keep his Conquer seat, he wasn't just average. Instead of being frightened, he added more divine chi into his sword and hacked at Bukion Fan's neck. Bukion Fan put back his lance and punched forward. As if swatting a fly, he forced the monk into the air with his sword. Without looking back, he forged onward towards the top of the Scroll Mountain. Boom! Behind him, the monk of the Four Symbols sect fell onto the ground. He started rolling down the mountain like a ball. In the span of a breath, two strong fighters had been forced down the mountain. Bukion Fan's abilities naturally shocked many people. Who is this? Dao King and Dao Hai of the Four Symbols sect couldn't even block one hit. How come another strong figure came out of nowhere? He even said that he wants to be Huang Yanqian's guard and help her to the king's seat. Huang Yanqian's charisma is scary. Some younger monks of the East region recognized Bukion Fan. A monk in an officer's robe and a feathered fan squinted towards Scroll Mountain. That man is Bukion Fan. He's from the Bu Saint clan. He's also a new star that the Ministry of War is training. What? He's from the Ministry of War? Hearing those words, many monks gasped. After all, the Ministry of War destroyed countless sects and clans. Thus, the monks of all the major families and sects all feared them. No matter how powerful or rich a group was, they would all turn to dust if the Ministry of War's army came. The Ministry of War had the highest number of strong fighters in Kunlun's field, more than the Demonic sect, the Martial Market Bank, and the Black Market. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to rule Kunlun's field and Thousand Void World. They'd naturally trained a big batch of young fighters. These fighters spent their days fighting with water beasts out at sea or with spirits native to the Void battleground. All of them were fierce figures with blood on their hands. They had rich battle experience and killed simply. Even if the conquerors of the Demonic sect went against the talents of the Ministry of War, it would be hard to say who was stronger. The most well-known amongst the younger generation of the Ministry of War was Kai Wan Sui. He was also known as King Tai Yui. He was the royal disciple of the First Central Empire's Kai family. Apparently, Empress Kai Yao had personally given him the name Wan Sui. It was evident how much help she'd invested in him. Other than Kai Wan Sui, the young figure who's risen the fastest is Bukion Fan, the man in the officer's robe said. Apparently, a year ago, Bukion Fan had a battle with young Lord Di of the East region Black Market that few knew about. In the end, Bukion Fan won and stole his immortal saint body. Bukion Fan stole his immortal saint body? A monk exclaimed from the side. Does that mean he's immortal now? A monk with the immortal saint body won't necessarily be impossible to kill. However, if you add the Huang realm and Heavenly realm, and have various divine marks, Bukion Fan's abilities would be much stronger than before. The man in the officer's robe continued. Apparently, the Ministry of War paid a lot to train Bukion Fan. They performed a ritual to use divine power and open the world within the Tanlun mark. They sent him in to train for 3 months. The Tanlun mark from the Chaotic World Mountain? I heard that it's a time-space treasure created by Saint Monk Xumi. The time ratio between the inner and outer world is 30:1. If 3 months passed outside, it's 7 or 8 years inside the Tanlun mark. No wonder Bukion Fan could reach such levels in this short time period. Hearing how amazing the Tanlun mark was, a younger monk exclaimed, he could improve so much in 3 short months. How come he didn't stay for a decade? He would be undefeatable when he came out. Another monk gave him look of disdain. 10 years. That's for the outside world. Inside the mark, It's 300 years. Unless Bukion Fan could reach the saint realm, he would die in there. Have you ever heard of anyone who could become a saint by secluding themselves? No. The man in the officer's robe nodded. That's right. If the Ministry of War kept Bukion Fan in the Tanlun Mark for 10 years, it would be like killing him. Actually, cultivating there for 3 months is already a great opportunity. I just wonder if he's refined divine blood yet. If Bukion Fan had, he would be even more terrifying. No one on Scroll Mountain dared to stop Bukion Fan. They could only watch as he charged, not stopping until he reached Huang Yanjin's side. There was no joy on the girl's face though. Instead, she furrowed her brow. Things were out of control now. She had no interest in the king's seat at all. With her stubborn personality, if Chen Qi, Chen Tanping, and Chen Lena hadn't humiliated her and wanted to know what was between her and Lin Yue, she wouldn't have agreed to ascend the mountain with Lin Yue. At that time, Huang Yanchen only wanted a talent seat. She didn't want to be in the spotlight. But the fight between the demonic sect and Yin and Yang sect made things go out of control. Lin Yue had already said that he would be her guard. If she didn't climb Scroll Mountain, he wouldn't either. For the glory of the Yin and Yang sect, Lin Yue had to. He had to fight with the demonic sect and open up a path for the young monks of the Yin and Yang sect. At this time, Huang Yanjin obviously couldn't hold him back. No matter how dangerous things were, she had to follow him up the mountain. Otherwise, people would say that she was ungrateful. Everyone thought that Huang Yanjin wanted to use Lin Yue to get a king seat. They didn't know that both Huang Yanjin and Lin Yue were pushed forward by the situation. They couldn't even take a step back. Lin Yue was powerful. Thus, he was fearless and charged forward bravely, throwing everything into chaos. Huang Yanchen wasn't so powerful though. When she decided to climb Scroll Mountain with Lin Yue, she was prepared to die here. She needed extreme courage to make the decision to risk things with Lin Yue. Actually, she subconsciously felt that the past Lin Yue spoke of was deeply connected to Zhang Yuochen. When Bukion Fan appeared, she was even surer. She knew that Bukion Fan owed Zhang Yuochen. Huang Yanchen knew that the men weren't fighting for her. Many of the women present were envious or jealous of her. Only Huang Yanchen, herself, remained clear-headed. She knew that Lin Yue's relationship with Bukion Fan wasn't that deep. Perhaps Lin Yue and Bukion Fan were both fighting for Zhang Yuochen. Huang Yanchen stood to the side. She didn't try to persuade Bukion Fan because her words would only weaken the dominance Bukion Fan had accumulated along the way. In this case, she would just keep silent. Strong battle chi radiated from Bukion Fan, forming a black cloud above his head. It kept surging. He glanced at Captain Ratendler. His eyes shone sharply as if 2 balls of fire were burning in his pupils. Like a beast just released from his cage, he said coldly, "Who will fight me?" Captain Rat had just been threatened by La and was forced to give Huang Yanjin up. He was looking for a place to vent out his anger. Bukion Fan's appearance obviously excited him. He couldn't wait to fight.